Success is simple. It's just being consistent at one thing. Whenever somebody presents you with an opportunity to take action on something, say yes more often. And even if you don't know what's going to happen, even if you don't know how to fulfill that, just go with it at the I'm going to find a way mentality. But the goal is, again, I mentioned this earlier, who, not how, because sometimes I think we try too hard and too long doing something that we completely should not be doing. And, sometimes we can outsource some tasks and some things for very minimal amounts of money. Yeah, I think a lot of people look at the team as an expense, but in reality, like something like that's an investment. Take time this week to plan out your next quarter, what you want to do, and so you can execute. Having a plan gives you a lot more confidence. The best way to learn is just by simply looking, right? Just looking and observing. If you can get good at these few things, I promise you, you'll win in business regardless of the economy. You'll win in business regardless if we're in a recession, if we're in the high in the economy. Right here, if you can get good at
Welcome to another episode of Access Granted, where I give you exclusive access to entrepreneurs who are killing it in their field. Today, I have a special guest. I have adopted him as my business bestie. So behind the scenes, he's always just in place, making it happen, and it helped me with making my business scale and grow. So I decided to bring him from the behind the scenes on the show to give you guys access to how you can do the same. So Michael, welcome to Access Granted. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited. I've always been on the back side of the show and seeing how things work. So it's cool to be out here just able to add value.
Well, I appreciate you because you always push and motivate me to do more. I'll have this idea in my head and you're like, all right, this is what we can do and make it happen.
Well, you got such good vision and ideas. I mean, I'm sure you all would agree that, Coach does a good job putting these visions out there. So we just want to make sure that gets done and gets executed. So for sure.
I appreciate that. So tell the audience a little bit about Michael Tucker.
Yeah. My name is Michael Tucker, agency owner, digital marketer. I've been in digital marketing for about 6 years now and never thought I would be in digital marketing. I actually went to school for Christian missionary studies and business. And after I got out of school, I had no clue what I was going to do, Coach. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to try anything and everything. And you guys can probably relate, you try thing after thing after thing. That was me. I was one of those dudes that clicked every ad on social media and just was trying everything. And eventually, one of my friends reached out and said, Michael, hey, I'll teach you real estate if you run the backside of my business, like the systems, marketing. And I didn't know what the heck I was doing, Coach. And but I was like, hey, free mentorship, I'll learn. And so I think one of the keys to, when you're first getting started is leveraging the power of bartering. And for me, I didn't have anything. I just got out of college. And so when this guy gave me the opportunity to get mentored, I was like, hey, might as well try it. And so I think one of the biggest keys for me getting into this space and a lot of the other things I've been doing in my life is bartering, negotiating services, negotiating my time. And it's perfect for those that are just starting out. Like I was. And so that's my journey where it started with digital marketing. I helped this guy, his name is David, helped him in his digital marketing, building his funnels. And I just bootstrapped it. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. YouTube videos, conferences. I just started going and I fell in love with digital marketing and what it can do. So fast forward 6 years now, here I am sitting with you talking about digital marketing.
Wow. So we hear about it all the time. We hear the term, but what exactly is digital marketing?
Yeah, I think using pretty simple and straightforward. I'm not too much of a complex guy, but just using the internet to find leads and close sales, right? And I think a lot of people overcomplicate success. I said this last night on a live, I think you were on. Success is simple. It's just being consistent at one thing. And so digital marketing for me is finding ways online and on the internet to just be consistent, getting in front of your audience and presenting opportunities for them to work with you and take you up for your service and your product. And so there's many ways you can go about it, right? We use a lot of virtual events with you. We do a lot of, sales funnels online with you and your business, on the back side of things. There's many different ways to go about it, for real.
I love that. And I think it's an important piece, a key piece. And I think that's kind of how we got connected. I was kind of in the digital marketing space. I had an audience online, but I was missing a lot of pieces that were able to help me scale to the next level. So I really didn't understand what a funnel was. I didn't understand how to capture information when people were coming to my website. And that's where you came in place. So how how do I get started in the digital marketing space? I have an audience, but I'm not really sure what my next step would be. How do I get started?
I think for me, whenever I look at somebody brand new, trying to build funnels online, I say, hey, what's the end goal? What's the end goal here? For you, we knew that you had coaching services, we said, okay, that's the end goal. So now we got to reverse engineer and say, what's the best way to get people into that vehicle? And so if you're here listening or watching today and you have an audience, you need to figure out what you're going to be selling them. What's the end goal? Is it you want them into a mastermind or a coaching program? Is it that they're going to purchase a done-for-you service, whatever that is? And then we can reverse engineer and say, okay, where are these people at? What's going to draw them in and get them interested? And for you, we say, hey, coach, you're an amazing teacher. Like you can get on a live stream, you can get on a Zoom, and you could teach the heck out of people. So we said, hey, that's going to be the vehicle for her because she's already amazing at it. And so let's reverse engineer. Hey, you want to get, you want to sell your coaching or your done-for-you grant writing services. Let's reverse engineer and let's use what you're good at, which is your speaking skills and your teaching skills. You're a very likable person, which is, something that's very, to your advantage. And so then we reverse engineer. So I don't know if that answers the question.
It does. Okay. Yeah, definitely. You mentioned something earlier, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs miss out on this piece. You educated yourself about the digital marketing space. You didn't know a lot about it. It wasn't your background, but you put yourself in the room to gain more knowledge. YouTubes, conferences, and there are a lot of entrepreneurs who are scared or afraid to make that leap and educate themselves. What advice would you give the entrepreneur that's watching this and they're like, I want to take my business to the next level. I want to learn about digital marketing. I want to learn about, maybe an additional service that can advance my business. But what advice would you give to that entrepreneur that's scared or nervous and needs that push?
Yeah, Coach, I was having a conversation with a guy that works for Grant Cardone. And I was like, dude, you are a wizard at what you do. Like, this guy is like one of the best tech and automations guy I know. And I was like, dude, how did you get so good? Like, did you go to school for this? Like, how did you, what he told me? He's like, you know what? I said yes more often and more times than other people. And I'm like, what do you mean said yes? He said, there'd be opportunities come up and he would say, he said, people would say, hey, I've got this opportunity, this job for you. And he said, even though I didn't know how I was going to do it, I just found a way. I accepted the opportunities and I just said, you know what, I'm going to find a way to make it happen. I'm going to connect with somebody that knows how to build this thing, or I'm going to go buy a course on it. And so I think for a lot of beginning entrepreneurs, if you're here watching or you're listening, just saying yes to more opportunities. Now, I'm not saying you should say yes to all opportunities, right? Because then you'll be out of time, energy, right? And you won't be able to focus on what really matters in your business. But one of the things that I've got really good at, and I took that advice, is that whenever somebody presents you with an opportunity to, take action on something, say yes more often. And even if you don't know what's going to happen, even if you don't know how to fulfill that, is just go with it at the, I'm going to find a way mentality. And it's easier said than done, right? Because sometimes we let fear, we let the lack of confidence get in the way. But really, when you step out there and say, okay, who has the resources that I need to get this done, right? That's when it starts getting really fun. Or where are the resources I need to actually fulfill this? That's when you actually can step into the next level of greatness. And so continuing your education, even when you hit, like Coach right now, one of the best students I've ever met. Coach, you go tell her to watch a podcast. You go tell her to attend an event. Guess what she's doing? She said, hey, I'll be there next week across the country. She said, I'll fly there. I'll be there. So always continuing to be a good student is one thing, but then always choosing to say yes, even when you don't know how it's going to get done.
So I teach entrepreneurs how to get access to grant funding, and that was never my journey. My journey was always banking. I knew I was going to be in finance. That's always been the thing I wanted to do, was since I got out of college. But I became this expert in grants because I said yes, right? So I started helping people around me. I helped myself get access to grant funding. But I started this community to start teaching other entrepreneurs and giving entrepreneurs the resources that I wish I had when I started my business. So that piece of saying yes and just connecting and being surrounded around like-minded people, I think that's a key piece that a lot of people are missing to scale and grow their business. But another important piece, I think, is just building a team. We try to do
I like that.
That's something that I missed out on when I first started. I was trying to do everything on my own, my digital marketing, my email marketing. I even tried to do a funnel by myself one time. That was terrible. So what's the importance of, and I know you have a crazy crazy extensive background in building a team, but I want you to share a little bit with the audience the importance of having key pieces and somebody around you that can help with everything in your business and how.
Yeah. I think, there's a time and season for everything. There's a lot of people you're watching right now or listening right now. You're ultimately going to have to be a solopreneur for a little bit, right? But the goal is, again, I mentioned this earlier, who, not how, because sometimes I think we try too hard and too long doing something that we completely should not be doing. And, sometimes we can outsource some tasks and some things for very minimal amounts of money, to be honest, right? So for example, a lot of people, they're spending a lot of time checking their emails, editing podcasts like this, when in reality, they could go find a virtual assistant for $4 an hour, $5 an hour to go do these tasks. And so that's what we've gotten really good at. But the importance is that once you are able to delegate, you're able to elevate, right? So once you're able to delegate, you're able to elevate to a new status, to a new level in your business, and you can focus on what really matters. You can focus on the money-making activities. Now that our team, and we build a team around Coach, now she doesn't have to spend all this time building funnels. She doesn't have to be building emails. She doesn't have to be, all we want is Coach to be the pretty face on Instagram. That's what I tell her all the time. You show up on the webinars, on the Zooms, on the live streams, on the podcast, we'll take care of the rest. And you know how I'm just speaking maybe for you, but I would imagine that's a big burden lifted off your shoulders now. And you're able to be a little bit more creative and step into a little bit more energy when you go on those live streams now, because you don't have to worry about, is this SMS sending? Are the ads working right? Like, she's able just to let go and step into her greatness. And so if you want to step into your greatness, a team is really, really key once you want to scale. Now, if you want to stay, and have just a little hobby, have a little side business, that's cool. Like, be a solopreneur. Like, you don't have to hire a team. But if you really want to get to a place where you can step into scale, that's when a team's important.
Yeah. People ask me all the time, Coach K, how are you on live 6 times a day? How are you posting 4 times a day? And I was like, because I have a team now
right.
that's able to help me on the back end. I can be on live and my phone will be going off with an SMS text message that blasted out to all of my email lists. So I appreciate that because now I'm able to be the brand, the face of the brand, and really focus on building the brand and really, really, truly dedicated to being inside of our community and building the community.
And by the way, great community. If you guys haven't joined the Business and Grant community, we got a good team going here, but I want to be honest, this is one of the best communities that I've ever seen, whenever it comes to accountability and coaching and stuff. So go to businessandgrantcommunity.com. Shameless plug there. But yeah, it's a great community.
Thank you. And I am truly committed to just giving entrepreneurs those resources they need. And I love the community, really love what we're building inside of the community. So if I am going to build a team, I'm at the space where I'm ready to hire 1 or 2 virtual assistants. What do I do? How do I get started? And how do I find somebody that aligns with my mission and what I have going on with my business?
Yeah, great question. I think with the virtual assistant route, I think it applies to every industry, because I see what comments are on these YouTube, like, hey, Coach, are the grants for me? Are virtual assistants and building a team that's international the way we do it. And in our team, I think we have probably 10 to 15 virtual international hires. And that's a great way to start. And so how to go about that is really identifying what you need to outsource first, Coach. And a lot of people, they don't truly know the tasks they're doing in their business. So I'm going to give you all just a quick little process and a quick little rundown about what I did when I first started and what I coach a lot of my clients to do. Is number 1, you want to sit down and do an inventory and an audit on every task you're doing in your business. Every task. Now, this is going to be a little boring, okay? It's not the fun side of business, but you're going to sit down and audit everything you do. And this is going to take you a little bit of time, but I want you to look back from the past 7 days and just literally audit from morning till sundown in your business what you did. That could as menial task as opening emails, checking Slack messages, dropping files into a Dropbox folder, whatever that is, just document everything. And then once you have that, what I want you to do is identify what you need to get rid of, what's stealing your time, what can be outsourced. And the thing, Coach, a lot of people say, well, the task I'm doing can't be outsourced. They can only be done by me. Listen, that's the biggest lie ever. You can outsource almost any task. Now, there are certain things like Mr. Beast. He can't outsource being Mr. Beast. Coach K can't outsource being Coach K, right? But Coach K writing an email can be outsourced, right? Coach K building a funnel can be outsourced. And even though you think that most tasks in your business cannot, with the right standard operating procedure, with the right documentation process, you can literally let go of many, 99% of the tasks in your business you can let go of. And even if there's tasks that you're like, I don't know if I can outsource this, with enough training, eventually over time, you could let go with, I would say 100% of the tasks, as long as they're not attached to your brand. So number one, take an audit of everything you're doing. Number two, see which tasks are sucking your time, and then say, okay, how can I hire for those tasks? And that's where does that make sense so far?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. And so from there, what you're gonna do, now you know all these tasks, you're gonna build SOPs around the task. Now, this is the most boring part if you're like me and you're not organized, not an organized person. For me, I'm one of those, I run and gun, me, I'm up like 1 a.m, coming up with ideas, but I'm not great at organization. But it's super important that you build standard operating procedures in your business, because if you don't, then what happens is when you bring on new hires, they're not gonna do things the way you want it to be done. What I see a lot of business owners do is they'll hire somebody, coach, and they'll say, well, this person didn't edit the videos like I wanted them to, or this person didn't make the graphics like I wanted them to, but they never got coached on how to do it. I asked, hey, did you create a standard operating procedure lining out exactly how you want it done with standards and policies and procedures? No, I didn't do that. Well, that's important, because you can't, harp on them. You can't get mad at them if they don't know what's expected of them. And so making those, and what I recommend is setting 1 day a week. And I actually got this from a real estate entrepreneur that I know. He said every week he sat down and created one SOP per week. He said he took the slow route, just one SOP per week. And if you don't know what an SOP is, a written or video documentation of that task. So he would sit down on Saturday mornings and he would say, okay, what task do I want to document this week? Hey, this week, you know what? I'm going to delegate, or I'm going to document how to edit a podcast video. And he would spend Saturday mornings for an hour on that one task, document it. He would get on loom.com. If you guys don't know, it's free. And he would just record himself on his computer documenting that. He said after 2 years, he had over 100 SOPs and was able to remove himself from his business. And so once you guys do that, I can get in here in a little bit on the really architect of finding the hires, but that's the ground level. You have to do this. If not, you'll be hiring people and you'll be tired and they'll just churn and churn and churn.
Wow, I love that. And I love the SOP, building out the SOP and uploading it on Loom. Because now if I have to hire somebody, now I just have it, I already have it in place. Mm-hmm. If there's a turnover, it's already there. So it just makes it easy for me. If I am going to hire a virtual assistant, where would I go? How do I start?
Yeah. One of my favorite sites is onlinejobs.ph. A lot of people know it. It's very common. But if you want to hire international, we hire from the Philippines, which a lot of people are like, Michael, why do you go international, right? Why, coach, would you go international when you go hiring? Number one, it is more cost effective here in the US. Like I said, we can find virtual specialists from anywhere from like $3 an hour all the way up to $10 an hour. It just depends on what task, right? So we just onboarded an email copywriter yesterday, and for $10 an hour. Now, copywriters, can be upwards of $25 to $100 per hour, just depending on what kind of copy. And so it's really cost efficient. There's a big demand for virtual overseas, especially in places like the Philippines. Coach, I'll make a job posting and get like 200 to 300 applications per time. So go to Online Jobs. It's free. And start there. I take, actually, I may give a free resource out. Just hang tight to the very end. I got like a PDF I can give you guys on this, but pretty much go there. You make a job posting, and literally within a day or two, as long as you have that SOP built and you have the description for that job posting, you can have hundreds of applicants ready, on Online Jobs.
Wow. So inside of my academy, I actually teach them how they can hire a virtual assistant to help them write and apply for grants. And most people don't know that once you educate yourself about the grant journey, you can train someone else to be really your dedicated grant writer. So I can go to Online Jobs, hire a virtual assistant, plug them into my business to be my dedicated grant writer. That's next level. That's access.
Really dope. Yeah.
But I train, or I teach people inside of my academy is a 12-week mentorship program. Okay. And inside the academy, I teach them how to be grant writers as well. So one of those features is, hey, this is how you build out that team. And now you have dedicated grant writers that work for you. But entrepreneurs can do this as well. So there are so many people who say, hey, I don't have time to apply for grants, or, hey, this doesn't work for me. And I'm like, learn this strategy, educate yourself, and then now you can train someone else about what to do. And now you have somebody at your fingertips that can help you write and apply for grants on the back end all the time.
And I think you say apply for $1 grant a day. Is that your thing?
$1 grant a day.
$1 grant a day. That's pretty easy. I think anybody can do that. But if you're making the excuse that you can't write or like apply for $1,000 a day, like just hire a virtual assistant for $300, $400 a month, and they can go apply for $5,000 a day, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So average time for a grant is about 30 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
Sometimes that can be a little longer. So if you saying I can hire somebody for $3 to $10 an hour, and they're applying for grants that are $10,000, $100,000, or $200,000, that's pretty cost efficient on the dollar, right? So I think that is a next level strategy that I wish I would have been thinking that way when I first started, and being able to leverage that resource. So I think virtual assistants is definitely a key way to go.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people look at the team as an expense, but in reality, like something like that's an investment, right? So, you know, we just did a training yesterday on podcasting, and I hired somebody specifically from the Philippines, a virtual assistant, to do reach outs on podcasts for me. And so I was paying her, $400 or $500 a month, but all the shows I'm getting on and all the leads and everything for me, I'm like, oh, this is a solid investment. I'm going to pay this person $5,000 per year. But in reality, if I get on 35 plus shows and I got all these leads and people are coming into my agency, people are, we're closing deals, that's a well worth the investment for me. So I like that play with the grants. That's pretty solid. Go steal that, y'all. That's pretty good.
That's exclusive access.
Right?
That's what Access Grant is about. I know we're really about digital marketing. We talked about digital marketing, funnel building, but you said something that I love, and I want to touch on it really quick. You talked about being on more podcasts, and you did a webinar last night that I loved. I was glad I was able to join. But you talked about being on more podcasts. No matter what space you're in, no matter what industry you're in, can you touch on the importance of being in front of the camera more, and how it's been able to help you in your business? Yeah,
I think right now the biggest currency, and you've probably heard this online, people saying it, but it's so true. The biggest currency in today's day, 2024, 2025, is attention. If you can learn how to garner attention and get that, like, you got a gold pot in front of you, you got a gold mine in front of you, because that's where everybody's going. It's like, if you can get people, an audience, to watch your stuff and to tap in like you're doing, people will pay to be in front of those audiences. And so for us, it's really helped me get more brand exposure. It's really helped me get on more opportunities like this with you. And so podcasting is just an easy way for you to get out there. There's a lot of free opportunities. There's paid opportunities as well, but a lot of free opportunities to get your name, your brand in front of people. And if you do it right, it can be profitable as well. How many shows have we gotten you on, or that you've been on in the past, that, we ended up actually making thousands of dollars because you got on a show, people love what you were doing and what you're talking about on that show. And then you give a call to action at the end. Hey, go join my masterclass, go join my challenge, go get this service. And because you spent 60 minutes with them, right? Like, we're having a conversation here, the level of trust and rapport now with them is going to be super, super high. So if you're looking for a way to get really good at speaking, but then also at the same time to really increase your influence with your audience, I would say, podcasting and using virtual stages like this is a must.
There was a podcast I was on maybe not even a year ago, and I received so many new clients just from being on that podcast. And it's probably about a year now, and I'm still getting sales from this podcast just because it did so well. So I think that's another key thing that people are missing out on. Whether you have to pay a little, make a little investment to be on a podcast, or even if it's a free podcast, you have to get in front of the camera more.
Yeah, I think if you're scared to get in front of the camera, just know that repetition is the key to mastery, right? So if you're gonna really want to scale your business big time, like Coach, we call her big time. But if you really want to scale up, really commit to these things. These are the things, if you're taking notes, I want you to write this down. If you can get good at these few things, I promise you, Coach, you'll win in business regardless of the economy. You'll win in business regardless of if we're in a recession, if we're in the high in the economy. Right here, if you can get good at public speaking and you can get good at sales, and then if you can get good at both of them together, it's like you can knock it out of the park, right? Public speaking, like, if you're a good speaker, you have a good message, like, there's always going to be opportunities. People, hey, come speak at my podcast, come speak on my conference. Like, there's always going to be opportunities if you know how to articulate your words. But then on top of that, if you know how to sell and I was going to say persuade, I think that's the right word to use. If you can persuade people with your words at the same time, listen, you can always be in abundance of wealth.
That's amazing. That public speaking piece is key, because I don't want to do webinars forever, right? So I don't want to host webinars and challenges all the time, but public speaking is something I can do
Well, I mean,
for a lifetime.
webinars and challenges, that's public speaking as well, right? So
True.
it's just getting good at communication, right? And those that get really good, you look at Les Brown, Myron Golden, you look at John Maxwell, they're amazing speakers. You get up, they can captivate an audience and they can move people with their words. So long story short, if you can master that, that's what I've committed to over the past couple of years, and I'm still committing to. I want to become the best speaker I can one day. And at the same time, I want to get better at sales. And I've studied so many people. Tony Robbins, amazing at speaking, amazing at sales. And many others are as well. But I've just studied the greats, and like, those are the two things I see in common. So just that's what I would focus on if I were you guys listening.
Oh, I love that. That's another reason why I go live so often. I use that as my stage or as my platform. I'm in the comfort of my home, so it's a little bit more comfortable for me to just get on there and talk, but I still have an audience that I have to sell to and to educate. So I go live maybe at least 3 times a day.
I know, you go crazy. I'm like, it's 6 a.m. What's coach doing? But I'll say this, because one thing a lot of people say is, well, I've been on podcasts or I've started my own podcast and maybe I go live and not many people show up. I look at it as practice. Right now, for me, I'm asking how every opportunity I get in front of the camera, how can I take that, go back later and take the feedback, watch it again and say, okay, what do I need to change? Like even this show, I'll probably go back and watch it later and say, okay, what worked well in that show? What didn't? What should I have said? What shouldn't have said? How could I have articulated my words a little better, and things like that. So just look at those times, even when there's only 5 people watching, even when there's 20 people watching, look at it as, hey, that repetition to mastery.
That's good. That's really, really good. Exclusive access. We gave you guys digital marketing, virtual assistant, podcast, but you have something else that in your pockets that a lot of people really don't know. You help entrepreneurs make millions of dollars. I don't even know how many it's been, but you have received several awards just for being the expert in your industry and helping entrepreneurs with those key pieces. Talk a little bit about that. And do you even know the number of how many people you've helped?
I do know the total cumulative amount. I think it's like we've done over 40 million in sales for our clients and for our partners that we work with. So I don't know the exact amount. I mean, we've had people make $7 million in a day, $3 million in a day. It's cool. Everybody starts somewhere. We've had people make $5,000 in a day, so yeah, it's been a little bit everywhere.
Well, you definitely have helped my business. I think we were probably barely touching $10,000 a month, and now I'm not gonna say a number, but
we're doing we're doing well.
We're doing really, really good.
But the cool thing is, I'm not about the income. Income's cool, but you know how many lives you're able to impact now?
Yes.
Like that's the cool thing about when you take your business serious, coach. You can impact a lot of lives. Like thousands of people are coming into your ecosystem. They're attending your classes. They're attending your podcast. And like your impact now, because you learn the system, you build a team, you're just like 10x.
Yeah. But it's just that it was that missing piece, right? I knew about funnels. I knew about digital marketing. I knew about showing up online, but putting those systems in place, those funnels in place, those automations in place behind the scenes where as soon as somebody comes in, it captures their information. Right. 2 days later, it sends them an email. How do I get started on that piece if I'm just getting started? I don't have the budget to hire a VA. I can't connect with the Michael Tucker right now. As a sole entrepreneur, what would be my first step to take?
I think adequate planning. That just popped in my head. I think a lot of entrepreneurs don't take enough time to plan. I'm going to be honest. I fall victim of this sometimes. So because we get running and gunning, we get doing stuff. But I think if you have enough time planning your promotions and your marketing, you can get a lot done. And I want to ask, the viewers, how many months ahead are you planning your promotions, your marketing? Are you sitting down and planning by the quarter? Are you planning by 6 months? You look at some of the biggest marketers and some of the biggest companies, you know what they're doing? They already have their Christmas planned out for next year. Like they already have their summer promotions. No, I'm not saying you have to have everything, everything done, because, they're always going to want to add things in on the fly. But one thing I've learned from people like Russell Brunson and some of these big marketers is that, go ahead and create a big calendar for the next year. So lay it out, say, okay, for the next quarter, what's going to happen? And when you take time to plan that out, like you may not have all the funnel skills, you may not have all the tech skills, But you can take time then to say, okay, I know what I want to do. Okay, it's right now, what is it? We're recording this in wintertime. So maybe, hey, I'm going to go ahead and start planning out for Easter, right? I'm going to go ahead and start planning out for spring. And now I can take some time to plan to learn, what email automations. I need to learn the software so I can get ready for that. And so I think a lot of things, in short, can be fixed with adequate planning. So the challenge for you all listening is take time this week to plan out your next quarter, what you want to do, so you can execute. So having a plan gives you a lot more confidence.
I agree with that. We are planned out for the next quarter,
yeah,
all the way up until the end. Actually, all the way up until the end of March. And I don't know when this is going to drop, but I'm sure it will before then. But we have a challenge that's going to come up soon, but we have an in-person conference in March, and we are like hitting the ground running. And when you see it, it can kind of be overwhelming.
Yeah,
like, ooh, I have all of this going on. But it just keeps you aligned with your mission and your goals.
Right.
Like, this is what's coming up. This is how I have to take action. And this is how I have to make this particular event successful. So I love seeing the vision because it gives me that drive and that push to keep going.
Yeah.
Something you don't know, I don't think I've ever told you this. My first time seeing you, I joined a challenge. It was the Fund Your Freedom Challenge.
Okay.
And I joined it as, I wanted the information, but I joined it to kind of view and watch how they were running their challenge. I hadn't connected with the team. I was still doing everything on my own. And I wanted to host a 5-day challenge. So I joined the challenge to see what they were doing. Cool. Yeah, I joined the challenge to see how they were doing it and what they were doing leading up to the challenge. I attended every webinar, the whole 5 days, and I seen you on the challenge. You were giving out a iPad.
Yep.
You were doing a live stream, and the person had to be live. And I was like, who is this Michael Tucker guy? Let me see if I can hire Michael Tucker. And I went to I couldn't find you on Instagram, but I screenshotted you. And I put your face in on Google Images.
Oh, really?
And your Facebook came up.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I'm going to work with this Michael Tucker guy. And I just started going down this rabbit hole and trying to figure out how I could work with you. And I was like, yeah, I don't think I can budget him right now. But it's just exciting to see how things align and how I went into this being a student and trying to learn the systems and the back ends and figuring out what I could do for my business. And now you're stuck with me forever. But now we're like business. I adopted him as my business bestie.
Yeah, that's really cool. I didn't know that story. But you made a really good point. And I don't want to be on here blabbering for hours, but I will say this. That's why I tell people all the time, the best way to learn is just by simply looking, right? Just looking and observing. I think sometimes we get in this mode of consumer, right? Hey, I'm consuming these challenges, these webinars, these courses, but we never take time to step back and look, how are they actually executing the thing that I just bought or the thing I just signed up for? So that's really cool because not many people actually do that. And that's when you know your coach here is different from everybody else. Because I do that as well. I actually sign up for conferences and events. And you know what I do? I sign up not to even attend. I just have, what I'll do is, here's a little tip for you guys. I'll create a folder in my Gmail inbox. Every time they send me an email, I just organize it by, say, for example, Russell Brunson, he's hosting a webinar. I'll just say, okay, boom. I'm going to organize this in a folder in my Gmail, Russell Brunson - funnel hacking live, whatever that is. And so now I tell my team, my virtual assistants, hey, go pull all these emails and put them in a PDF for me. And now, you know what? I have the whole blueprint. I have everything for that event.
Wow.
So exactly, Coach was attending this 5-day challenge. She was showing up, those are just things that the 1% are doing. They're not focused on, hey, the consuming, learning is cool. But when you can go deeper than just consuming and actually say, okay, how are people producing this? That's when you get the next level.
Yeah, it was a next level opportunity. I learned a lot in the challenge being a student, but just seeing how everything was put in place, the systems, the automations, the SMS, the email marketing. And these were things I was able to take and apply to my business. And it was just exciting to see. So before we end, I always like to ask my guests, give our audience just 3 things that you would tell them to do right now to get into the digital marketing space.
Yeah, great thing. I think we mentioned a lot of great things. So I would say focus on everything we talked about in this show. But I'll say on top of that is just make a commitment today is number 1, that you're actually going to finally stick to it. I know a lot of times, we get busy. We get shiny object syndrome. There's this ad telling us we should do this, but just commit to one thing, this upcoming year and this year. I think just making the commitment was one of the things that set me apart. And you probably don't know this story, so I'll just tell it real quick as we end. back when I got into real estate and I was bartering services, I got so excited. I got into real estate, got 2 deals. Like my first time, I didn't have any money, okay? But this guy, he taught me, hey, how to use other people's money to get my first 2 deals. And I'm going to be honest, I lost a lot of money. I got so excited. I let this is point number 2. I let my emotions trump the principles of business. And so if you're in here, never let your emotions trump principles, because at the end of every principle is a promise, as Eric Thomas says. So if you commit to the principles, the outcome will happen. And so for me, I let my emotions trump the principles of real estate and business at the time. And I lost like $20,000 in credit card debt at the very beginning of my entrepreneurial journey. But it was the commitment, going back to point number 1, the commitment. My mom, I'll never forget it. I lost all this money and she could tell I was defeated. And she said, Michael, are you really wanting to keep doing this business and doing, real estate? And it was at that moment I was talking to her, really personal one-on-one. And I had to make a decision. Hey, am I going to commit to this no matter what? Because listen, you've probably been bouncing from course to course. You've been bouncing from mentorship to mentorship like I was. And eventually I had to buck up, and I told my mom, I was like, you know what? I may have lost now, but that was a lesson, right? I'm going to do whatever I can to succeed now. I'm going to commit to learning this real estate thing for a year or 2. Not many people commit that long. So I said, I'm going to try a year or 2. And I did. And I ended up going to make 6 figures in real estate, learning how to do that really efficiently and effectively. So it was because of that commitment. And then I started looking at the principles because they actually lead to the promise. And so I don't have a last one. We gave out too many gems, but I would say those 2 things right there is commit. Coach does a really good job at committing herself to things. You guys see the show, she's committing consistently to putting these out. And then she's also one of those that if she knows a principle, she's going to put it in place to see it through.
Well, I appreciate you. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, I think best way to connect with me is just Instagram, just official Michael Tucker. There's plenty of ways that we could connect, but just hit me up, let me know, say, hey, I came in through Coach's show. I'd love to connect with you and see, maybe how we can help you with your digital marketing. But, Coach has a lot of great stuff. We're helping her launch and get out in the world. Definitely check it out. She does have the conference coming up, so we'll plug that as well. So if you go to fundingblueprintlive.com, our team has really, really done an amazing job. Not just myself, we got a whole team as well working on this event. It's going to be awesome. You want to talk about that just for a second?
Yeah, absolutely. Funding Blueprint Live Conference is coming March 2025. This is an in-person conference giving you exclusive access to funding for your business. We have a ton of guest speakers. We're giving a grant out. Amazing opportunity, in person, live here in Atlanta, Georgia. You don't want to miss it.
Awesome. Well, we hope to see you guys at the conference. Coach, thank you so much for having me. I really had fun. Hope you guys found value in this. But yeah, I appreciate you.
We appreciate you. Thank you for being a part of Access Granted. All right, you guys, we're wrapping up another crazy episode of Access Granted. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment below. I'll see you soon.